begs
placed in the
which just begs the simplest and most straightforward question, and let me put that if I can to Sree Iyer if he's with us. Mr. Iyer, the suggestion of mediation is not a new one. It was suggested by the former Chief Justice also. A lot of water has flowed on the bridge and a lot of time gone before we even come to this. Should we have just started that mediation process? Should the parties have gotten involved a lot earlier, perhaps many years ago?
The mediation process has never worked because, you see, this is more of an emotional issue, and there's a feeling among the minorities that if we yield to this, that what else is the majority going to ask? And that's not the way the minority should be thinking. They have been living in peaceful coexistence, and for the government, in my opinion, the government missed a trick because the Narasimha Rao government had got all the land except the disputed land under the control of the government. This government could have gone ahead and started construction around the perimeter, and if and when the judgment comes about the possession, that part, the government could have given the compensation to whoever is the victor.
Okay.
So that could have been a very...
Okay, that brings us down to three options. And SK Datta nailed it, right? There are only three options possible. Now, either the mediation process works, and hopefully maybe tomorrow, maybe a few weeks later, we don't know. That's for the Supreme Court and the mediation panel to decide when they're comfortable with releasing their report, that the consensus is built and the Mandir gets built that way, or no, the Supreme Court then has a verdict, or three, a future government then comes up with a law and ordinance. So now are we suggesting, sir, Sree Iyer, that since the BJP is the only party that has put the Ram Mandir in its manifesto and has before also, which is the critique that comes its way, and the other parties have not, that if there is no mediation possible, no consensus possible at the end of it, it is only a BJP government that it can potentially bring across a legislation on this?
Yes, that is absolutely right. And I also personally believe that the government should have taken up this fairly early in their reign in the 2014-2015.
Which they did not. It's spilled milk now. Yes. It's spilled milk now. Okay,
and
okay.
Now you're seeing...
Okay, so quickly just stay with me, sir. Just quickly let me... For the court to decide. That's their problem. Okay, but still your point is registered, sir. Sree Iyer, 30 seconds, sir.
You know, I just don't understand what this government wanted to do. In 2014, they promised three things: development, fight against corruption, and Hindutva. And on two of those things, they have really not delivered. And this is a giant leap of faith on part of the Modi government to think that the people are going to give it another chance. Just play this thing out. If there is going to be a hung parliament, do you think the Ram Mandir will ever come up?
Okay, will be on the top of the agenda or not? Okay, okay. Those are all scenarios, of course, which will... to pull out what has been lost from the Tirupati, where the golden crowns on the main idols have disappeared, right? I'm going to ask my producer to pull out that graphic. Sree Iyer, in this country, 3 days ago, we are having a debate on Tipu Sultan. Because the MP was discussing Tipu Sultan, Imran Khan is discussing Tipu Sultan. Here, Chola, Pala dynasty figurines cannot be replaced, can't be touched again, are disappearing, and nobody cares about it. Why?
It's like this, you know, the loot of temples by way of stealing all the statues has an unfortunate side effect in that once the temple loses its deities, people stop going there. And that becomes a ripe ground for conversion also. People don't even realize this other problem that comes up. Now, I just want to tell one little thing. There is a case in the Supreme Court where there is an appeal to give control of the temple back to the worshippers, and I'm hoping that that will start a series.
But see, here I have
has to be brought in here.
Quickly, Sree Iyer, my same question to you. You just come to Delhi, sir. I'm sure you visited Delhi often. You just drive down Lodi Road, yes. Humayun's tomb, at great expense. Charitable trusts have been involved, the government has been involved, the ASI has been involved in completely rebuilding it. This is absolutely gorgeous, great. It's part of Indian culture and heritage. It's beautiful. I'm glad they've done it. But what about all of this?
Look, the control of all these temples must go back to the hands of the people who used to manage this before the government stepped in the 1930s. Okay, yes. For that to happen, there has to be some sort of a restoration of power back to these trustees which can run the temple. The temples had a lot of property in their hands that has been appropriated by the politicians for their own ends. Those things have to go back to these committees, and then the committees can run these temples successfully. The temples can be the place where the Indian culture, the Sanatana Dharma can thrive. That has to come back.
I'm short of
It has
time.
started
Vivek
in
Reddy,
US.
Vivek